Okay, welcome to the show, Steve. We're talking all things Brookside today. So can you tell us what made Brookside such a special show for you?
Okay, I absolutely love soap opera. I was the kid. I was a child of the born in the early 70s, so my teenage years were the 80s, mid 80s, and I grew up the Scott and Charlene Neighbours generation, and that was like full. That consumed my sort of teenage years. And then as I grew up, that was kind of losing its appeal. It seemed too childish, and I was looking for something. I love soap opera. I watched all of them. But Brookside was the one without, at the time the top teams were Liverpool and Man United. Without doubt, Brookside was like A-list. It just changed. It was a completely different viewing experience. It was just so real, the setting using real houses was just so different to television. And the fact that it was on Channel 4, it took itself in its story development. It was a lot more intelligent and a lot more slower. It didn't seem to be desperate for attention and ratings, which happened later, which led to its demise. Yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And what I got into it in the sort of early 90s, like 91, really started watching 92 onwards. And it was around the time Mal Young was the producer, and he really started. In the 80s, I was always aware of it, but I was basically living on the south coast, on the Isle of Wight, very far south coast. And it was very Liverpool northern focused, and I didn't have any connection with that. And then in the early 90s, Mal Young came in, and he started like taking national newspaper headlines and dramatising them in the close, such as the just before the Peter Harrison, Diana Corkill date rape storyline, there was the Mike Tyson date rape trial. And then there was the Waco cult siege, and Brookside did their own cult. And, the biggest storyline, which to this day, I say is the best storyline ever, the Jordache storyline, Body Under the Patio. And a few years later after that, everyone was saying it's ridiculous, a bit too far-fetched. And Frederick West got discovered in Gloucester in like 94. And you could just see this total link between what was happening in the press and, and the stories that were kind of capturing the public attention. And then what Brookside were doing, and no other soap before and no other soap since has been that on the ball. Even going smaller, they had Penny Crosby and the pension scandal. Her husband was an MP and embezzled the pension fund. That had just happened with Robert Maxwell getting pushed off the boat. If you can remember your 90s, like sort of politics and stuff. Yeah, I just found it absolutely stimulating that in the national newspapers we were reading, these sort of Sun headlines that just skimmed the surface, and then Brookside picked up these issues and showed you the micro detail, and you could understand why people were sucked into cults. You could understand the grey area of the law with date rape. I just found it absolutely wow. And to this day, I've worked on soap operas. I actually worked on Brookside, so that gives it a special place in my heart as well. But yeah, I've worked on, I always bring Brookside, my understanding and experience as a viewer of Brookside, back. It taught me what's good TV.
Absolutely. Well, I remember, showing me age here, but I remember the first night of Channel 4, Brookside coming on. And again, growing up in the Southwest for me, it was something completely different. And the sort of social realism over the first few years and the storylines were just absolutely great. So if someone asked me my favourite characters, I would be talking about the Corkills, the Grants. What would you say over the years were your favourite characters?
I really love, probably two really stand out. Anna Friel, Beth Jordache. Wow. Brilliantly written, brilliantly, acted by Anna Friel. I just loved it. Really, she wasn't a victim. If you watch soaps now, the female characters, they've had the same stuff that Anna Friel's character, Beth Jordache, had happen to her. And they're victims. Kat Slater's a victim on EastEnders. They're all walking around miserable. They're bruised, damaged characters. Beth Jordache had the worst thing that could happen to a teenage girl. And she was a fighter. I just thought it was the writing, Anna Friel brought herself to it, and it was brilliant. But without a doubt, it was the writing at the very beginning, the team. She was the driving force in that family. The mother, brilliantly acted and written. You can see she had post-traumatic stress for about 8 months. you know, from her introduction to the show and the murder of Trevor Jordash. She was just dithering, didn't know what to do, couldn't make a decision. And Beth Jordash was there pushing it. And then my second favourite character, it's not really known as a great Brookie character, but for me, it was Peter Harrison, who was the date rapist sort of thing. And he was the first time I've seen a good-looking, intelligent, sensitive, nice male, a bit like myself, on TV. And although, you know, they ended up making him a rapist, or was he? That was the debate. That kind of still goes on to this day. But yeah, he was just nice. And I just thought, wow, you know, television is full of these archetypes that you just see repeated and repeated and repeated. And Brookside changed it. They dared to do something different.
You said you worked on the show for a little bit. Can you tell us just a little bit about the other side to it?
I was a massive fan of it, as obviously why I'm here now. And I kept writing to the production crew asking for work experience of some kind. And at that time, I was finishing my A-levels and then moving on to do my uni. I did an English and drama degree, so I was very much into TV and writing and acting. And I kept writing to them asking for a work experience placement. And being from the South Coast, they kept saying, no, we don't do this. No way you get in. We only take local kids. And I never give up. When I want something, I never give up. And then in '94, in the summer of '94, an opportunity came up. They were doing acting for TV workshops on the set of Brookside. And it was one of the directors, Patrick Tucker. He was running it. And being, you know, I was studying drama, as I said, and being a massive fan of Brookside, I immediately leapt on the opportunity. Went up there with some of my friends. One of them lived local in Liverpool, so we stayed with her. And then we did this weekend on the set of Brookside. And I cornered on the lunch break Patrick Tucker, the director. And I said, look, basically, I don't want to be an actor, but I love Brookside and I absolutely love the show. I want to work on the show. Can I keep coming back? And he said, yeah, have a word with the Angela Mowcroft, who was like the facilities manager, coordinator. And they were just so receptive. It was like, yeah, okay, why not? If we can coordinate this. So over a 7-month period on and off, from the summer of '94 to start of '95, I was on the set of Brookside, acting as a assistant director, helping, shadowing Patrick, managing the extras, telling them what to do. But my real reason for being there, I'm like a sponge. You can just put me in the corner and I will observe and work out how everything works. And that's what I did. And then from that experience, I've run my own TV. I created the world's first internet TV soap. So that's what and it was all based on Brookside. It was, I shrunk their model. Instead of having a close, I rented a real house and we used that as a set for 2 fictional sort of properties that we filmed in the street on digital camera technology, you know. And yeah, I created a mini Brookside. So that taught me everything.